Hi, we are QOTD and you are watching the Thursday Big Show. QOTD is the question of the day show, the game show that lets you be on the air when you answer our crazy daily questions with your awesome answers. It's the Thursday Big Show, which means that we've had a whole week of questions and your answers, and you've been voting for the ones that you think are the best. And that's what we're going to go over right now. All the best ones for the entire week. And then we're going to vote. I should say, you're going to vote and pick your champions, the best answers to all the QOTDs for this entire week. If you're watching us on YouTube or Twitch, there are links in the chat that will enable you to vote, or even if you want, to record your own answer to some of these questions. What a week it's been, right?
Labor Day week.
Holiday? Labor Day week, exactly. And therefore, our theme must be...
Working for a living, baby.
Lots of good questions all about that. But, you know, we're sitting here idling our time away when we should be getting back to work. So what do you think?
Let's go.
Let's hit it. Toot, toot.
So our first QOTD this week was, if you owned a small business, what would it be? And if you already own a small business, we want to know what it is.
Trish, as I recall, you're a small business owner.
Well, I used to be a small business owner, but let me tell you, it's very rewarding. It's a lot of hard work, but I am a big believer that people should follow their dreams. Just don't follow somebody else's dream into owning a small business. That's my second piece of advice.
So yeah, one of my kids asked me, they go, like, oh, do you think I should go off and like follow this entrepreneurial route? I'm like, oh, I don't know, man. If somebody has to ask, the chances are they don't want to do it. But if you feel driven to have your own business, then you should definitely do it, because there's nothing more rewarding. I'm sure that most people out there must have a dream. JJ, you've got a dream, right? Or not. Hey, what do you say we go in and listen to what our fans have to say? What are their dream businesses? Ooh, this is going to be very awkward. Hey, JJ. Let's go ahead and punch the first user question.
Let's see, a small business. I love fashion, so I feel like I would love to have like a little fashion business. Maybe like fashion for babies, because I love little kids. And I would also love to somehow incorporate it being like a dog and cat adoption place where like you can adopt a cat while you're like looking for clothes. Kind of like a cat cafe, I guess. But I feel like that's not really a small business. I feel like that would be more of like a full-time thing, because if there's like live animals, I'd have to be there taking care of them. I mean, I would have workers probably, but yeah.
Details. But I love to say, yeah, fashion for babies. It's like so stupid, it might just...
No, I don't own a small business, but if I did, I think I would do a 24-hour fast food restaurant. I would do a menu that consists of boba tea, milkshakes, pizzas, funnel cakes, just kind of a variety of different things. And I think my inspiration for this is I'm a night owl, and I love snacking.
The inspiration is a smorgasbord.
A good inspiration.
If I was to own a small business, it would have to be something along the lines of a seafood spot, you know, that serves something very specific, maybe lobster tails or crabs. Why? Seafood is delicious. Everybody loves seafood. It would be booming. I would get to spend my days just fishing, catching stuff, cooking it, and just serving customers. So for me, it would be a seafood shack right by the beach.
So as far as a small business, I actually have one. And I guess you could consider it my dream small business, and it is a mobile notary business. So basically I'm the person that comes out to different nursing homes. I also go to different closings. I come to any and everywhere. If someone isn't mobile or they have a hard time getting appointments at the bank, I'm the person that they call out to their house. So yeah, so it's a dream business for sure. I started this during COVID and I absolutely love it.
Good job.
If I were to own a small business, I think I would let it be a restaurant so that I can make a lot of good food for everyone to come and eat and enjoy all the wonderful tastes of food.
Another restaurant.
If I were to own a small business, it would be a bookstore, because I just love reading books, and working in a bookstore as a small business owner would be a dream come true. And that's why if I were to own a small business, it would be a bookstore.
He's so soft-spoken. He'd be a great bookstore owner.
Yeah, he would. I love bookstores. They're so fun.
Guys, it's time for us to vote. So across the bottom of your screen are 6 numbers corresponding to these people. Click on one of those blue buttons to vote for that one, the one that's your favorite, and we're going to send them to the finals. If you're on YouTube or Twitch, go ahead and click the link in the chat, and it'll open up this for you. But yeah, a lot of people want to open restaurants. To me, it's like, I love it, but yikes, that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. It's a very romantic notion though, right? Because cooking is such an intimate thing, and it's your best times are with friends and family. We've talked about this many times with other questions, but I do believe that that's the impetus behind people wanting to own a restaurant. It makes you feel good, right?
Yeah.
So
Aha! The seafood restaurant on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, exactly. A lot of people want to work on the beach. So he actually has an idea, and it's like pretty well thought out. It wasn't like he was just shooting from the hip on this one.
Mm-hmm.
So, go for it.
Yeah, you're in California.
Oh, yeah.
Go. Let's go.
I would love to go.
Hector, send us a note when you got your seafood boil place open, and then meanwhile, during the next question, we're gonna think of a good name for it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, let's move on to question number 2.
Yes, let's do it. Let's see what is in store. What else? What other career stuff we're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Our next QOTD was, what career did you want when you were young, and what do you do now? So this is a brand new question, guys. That means it's worth $25 to the winning answer here, because it is our Thursday Big Show. So we're super excited to get some new responses.
So this was Saturday's question. It's a good one.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I
Very
gotta
good
say,
one.
speaking for myself, boy, I am doing nothing like what I had originally intended to.
Mm-hmm. I think it's true for most people, but it's really interesting how far away you can get from what you thought, when you were young and didn't really understand.
Yeah.
You're thinking.
I think I always said I wanted to be a school teacher, but I am really. I think I've never known what I wanted to do. So this for me has not changed. Still just kind of going with the wind.
I know that. I think that's what happens for a lot of people. I looked at some of the answers beforehand, and there was a lot of well, I thought I wanted to do this, but then I actually realized that I want to do this, and that's kind of sweet. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna lie. Well, I think we have some answers coming in, so let's see what the fans have to say on this question.
When I was young, I wanted to be a fireman. I figured I'd known some. It's a very heroic role, and you want to make a difference. But I found at an early age that I was able to do voices really well, and now since I do over 150 of them, I decided to pursue my dream, and I got into voiceovers. So now I record and narrate for clients all around the world. I love it. It doesn't really seem like a job. So I hope to be doing that for a real long time.
Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, I either wanted to be a ballet dancer, an actress, or a model. And now that I'm 26 years old, I'm actually a voiceover artist. So I am still technically doing the acting in some of my work, but I'm not doing the dancing, and I'm definitely not doing any of the modeling.
Hey, never give up hope on the modeling.
What career did you want when you were younger and what do you do now? Well, when I was younger, all I wanted to do was be an actress and a model. I wanted to do anything that was creative, on stage, performance, and I just thought that would be the coolest thing. And actually, I fulfilled a lot of it. I did a lot of acting and modeling, and it was fun and cool, and yeah, it was a dream come true. And now I change, and I am a proofreader, kind of like an editor for articles. So that's pretty cool too. I like that also.
I mean, that's a very important job too, in addition to being a very cool change of pace.
So when I was really little, I kept on telling my parents that I wanted to be a nun, which was influenced by my obsession with the movie The Sound of Music. And I just wanted to be Maria when I grew up. Yeah, that didn't happen. I'm not a nun. I'm actually going back to school to become a nurse. So that's how that worked out.
You can still twirl around on mountaintops.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a veterinarian, so I wanted to work with animals and be outside. I now work on computers and work with people. Big difference.
I'm really excited about that.
She's so disappointed. I work with people.
Ugh, people.
Well, I have always wanted to make movies ever since I was a kid. And right now I'm a video editor, so I'm not that far. There's a lot to go, but I'm not as far off what I wanted to do when I was a kid.
But you're still young. You're on the track.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like
Well, it is time for us to vote, and now you got to decide. Do you want to be a fireman or an actor like so many of us, or maybe a nun, or something like that? Maybe you want to work out there with animals. Maybe you want to go and, despise people indoors while you're staring at the computer screen, or maybe even a filmmaker. You get to choose. Go ahead and click one of these buttons. We're going to send your favorite answer to the final round, where we're going to pick a champion. If you're on YouTube, there is a link in the chat that you can click, and it will open up the voting window, and you can vote for one of these guys. Your votes are tabulated in real time, and they choose the next answer. That's why I'm killing time right now, so that you can choose.
yes, very important. Thank you. A very important task.
You didn't need to be a model. Look what a winner you are. Yay, Emma, congratulations. You won $25 for answering one of our brand new questions this week. And we hope to see you where you have a chance to win another $100 if you are the champion of champions at the end of this show.
But this is a big moment.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll give her the seed capital that she requires to launch her new career.
That's right.
Good exposure. Good exposure.
So it's
Well,
worth noting that not every question is a new question. Only new questions are the new questions. If you can tell them during the week, because it will say QOTD.
true. No, very important. Very good piece of advice, Keith. Thank you. Well, I think we can move on to our next question. Let's see what it is.
Well, we wanted to know if you've ever worked in the service industry and what a joy it is. What is your nightmare workplace story? Did you guys ever work in the service industry?
I worked at a florist.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's good.
No, you know what? I got fired really fast, so it wasn't a long haul there.
Okay.
But, I made the curly cues that you would put on the end of balloons that were often attached.
You couldn't do it?
It took me a while. I ruined a lot of ribbons. So anyway, that didn't work out. But yeah, then it was just, construction and driving trucks and stuff.
Wow.
That is so funny. I think
flowers nor building things, but I still like both.
That's good. That's good.
Some
Something similar
stories.
happened.
I've been hearing it all week while I've been watching the show. Now we have a 24-hour stream that's just kind of playing people's answers more or less as they as they, record them. And I've heard some really amazing things. Being in the service industry, whether you're talking about somebody who works at a 7-Eleven or at a Walmart, or maybe you're like a nurse or another kind of frontline worker, that's tough. People are hard. My hat goes off to all these.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Exactly. Well, I think we have some answers coming in from fans, so let's see what sort of nightmare stories they have. Spoiler alert, they're good.
I've worked in the service industry before, and my workplace story was I had this really impatient customer who was being rude, and I was making a sandwich, and he was just asking for a lot of toppings, and there was a huge line, and he was just being rude and just condescending and arrogant, and I just didn't like how he was treating me, and it was something I won't forget. It was a bad memory of a bad customer, so just very rude, and I didn't like that one bit.
You should be good to the people who are making your food.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm at work right now. Can't talk about this one. I worked at Walmart before. Price matching was a nightmare. I had a pack of hot dogs thrown at me.
So she's in a uniform.
Yeah. I love
Is
that.
banking considered a service industry? Yes. I was a teller and I got robbed at gunpoint and he left with a couple $100. They found him and they sent him to like 50 years to life because he had robbed like 10 other banks before with guns. The worst part of it was my bank manager, the general manager at the time, wouldn't stop making fun of me because the robber was short. So he makes fun of me that this little guy came up to me and said, "Give me your money," and then I have to live with that for the rest of my life. Thanks.
But my question is, why are tellers called tellers?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the real James is a teller because he told a very
So I don't know if this is
insane
considered
story.
a nightmare, but I used to work at an ice cream shop from ages 15 to 20. And I just remember in one instance, this startled me a lot. So this was my nightmare. These two girls come in. They're clearly not well. They seem like they're not homeless, but they're not like not homeless. And they just look like they're definitely on something. And so the one girl orders for the girl next to her, because the girl next to her couldn't even look at anyone, couldn't even speak, couldn't even stop shaking. And looking someone in the eyes that is just so apparently dealing with addiction is so startling as someone that's 15, never seeing that unless it's on like TV, So to be able to see someone that couldn't even function in public because they were just shaking and like definitely wasn't a sickness. Like this girl was 110% on something. That was definitely a good nightmare to have at work as a 15.
Nightmare is children. No story. Just if you have children, I don't think they should be allowed to eat at restaurants unless they're well behaved or on a leash.
Clean up after your kids.
Please.
One time, when I was at my old job, a kid peed on the floor during the middle of the day. And the mom just like, sorry, and left. So I had to clean it up. That was a fun day. Only made $8 an hour. So, yeah, definitely not worth it.
Well, folks, you get to decide which of these stories you found inspiring or you agreed with or resonated with you. You can say thanks to them by clicking on one of these buttons to vote for them and hopefully send them to the finals. Little buttons on the bottom of your screen. And if you're on YouTube, just look in the chat, it'll open up a window. Just take a second for the buttons to pop up because it wants you to read a little message that's wonderful.
Wow. Yeah, I think these are We had a good mix of stories today. I feel like we got like the extremes of how the bad customer service can be.
I thought the hot dogs were bad, and then I heard the other ones. Rude in the sandwich line.
So
Not good.
Trish, as the owner of a sandwich pizza store, like, do people mess with your food if you're mean to them?
No, not in my store, but I did work in other stores where absolutely they did. Absolutely.
Yikes.
Do not.
Everybody out there, take this as a lesson. Mind your P's and Q's. Be nice to your counter person or your waiter, waitress.
Yes, this is somebody who is hands-on to whatever you're about to consume. It's not a good idea to be rude.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more. Well, I think it is time to move on to the next question. Lesson learned. Now let's see what else we have in store.
Well,
Ooh.
this is an interesting question. We wanted to know if you could have an advanced degree right now, what would it be and what are you going to do with it? So you don't need to go through the training. You don't need to go through the expense of higher education. We're just going to bestow it upon you. So it's kind of your dream job.
Something that you need an advanced degree for. Like you could go for something like fancy, like you wanted like get a PhD in philosophy maybe, or maybe something really practical, like you want to have like an architecture. Super interesting. Save yourself 8 years, save yourself a big pile of change.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I think this one is a very good one. I know a couple of my friends, literally straight out of college, they went immediately to grad school. And so that was very interesting to see. I think right now, if I could just skip all of that and get a degree, I think it would probably have to be in like, I mean, obviously I have a computer science undergrad, so probably computer science grad would make the most sense, because then I could like build on it, have those increased skills, and then not have to worry about like the endless hours of coding, all of the money you put into it, and I could just reap the benefits.
I think that we have heard the computer science at some point this week. We'll see if it's in the big answers. But yeah, I think other people are saying that because they want the degree that's going to take them to the big money, the sure money.
Exactly, the big bucks. Well, I think let's explore the fan answers and see if anyone, let's see if those
So my
users
advanced
can.
degree would be a doctorate in divinity, and I would be traveling the world speaking about evangelism and church growth, because that's where my heart is, you know, really getting to know people, other cultures, and bringing them to the understanding of who Christ really is. And so, yeah, that's what I'd be.
Enough with your cynicism.
If I could have an advanced degree in anything, it would probably be the doctorate of musical arts or a master's in music production. And I would want to create albums, help people get the sounds they want for their albums, and be a music producer.
If I could have an advanced degree in anything, I would choose to have a degree in digital marketing and social media management. I'm not sure that social media management is a degree, but I want to be really, really good at it so that I could use that degree to manage social media for healthcare practice.
Literally right up until the end.
If I could have an advanced degree right now, I would probably want something in like animation or something that has to do with the arts. I love creating stuff. I love art, and I love to be creative. So I would like to create like my own TV show or movie. That would be something that I would aspire to.
That's very cool. A lot of creative.
So mine would definitely be in accounting or something like that, because that's where the money is, and I mean, it's a pretty cool job when you get around to it, you know?
Is it?
No. I mean, I don't know. I was on the phone with my...
If I could, I would be an accountant because I'm into freelance work, and accountants can make pretty good money as a freelancing accountant. So,
But it's so boring.
Creative types are never going to figure it out.
It's so boring. Ugh, running numbers all day. Ugh.
Running numbers is very exciting. Anyway, we're going to vote right now. There are buttons that are on the bottom of your screen that will enable you to vote for somebody. Which of your favorite videos here do you want to vote for? Our Doctor of Divinity, maybe that Dr. Beat from musicology. Maybe you want to get your master's in social media hoo-ha, or just like some sort of creative advanced degree so you can go make your own movies, or you want to be a CPA. Do you want a CPA away? Well, number 5 or 6. We'll send one of these guys to the final round and see who is going to be the champion of the week. It would be a little sad if the accountant was the champion of the week.
Well, the difference was that Angel wanted to be a freelance accountant, and Brenton there, he wanted to be a full-time accountant in the queue. And Angel, our freelancer.
Oh. Freedom!
I mean, hey, yeah, I think accountant, I feel like a lot of people definitely chose creative, but like accountant is almost like the underground smart best answer, because I think we've talked about it. Money.
Yeah.
That's my father gave me. Stand next to the money tree. You never know what's going to fall out of it.
But yeah, I will say I'm very happy that even though we have a very worthy winner in Angel with the accounting degree, I do appreciate the people who are getting creative degrees to kind of further that knowledge. But you know,
It's kind of a waste of time. You should just go off and be, creative.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like
You think
Andre.
Jay-Z's like going to school of whatever,
right?
Music and creative entrepreneurship. You think he just went up and did it?
Yeah. I feel like Andre can, he can preach the word if that's what his passion is. Passion for the Christ, if you will.
He needed the cred. Like you.
Okay.
There's certain things you can't do unless you've gone through the program. It's like being a doctor. You can know everything about medicine, but you can't actually practice.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You can be spiritual. You just can't be a spiritual in lots of respects.
All right.
I'm
The more
talking
you
very
know.
quietly, aren't I? Because we're talking about such a solid subject, right? It's like we're talking about, big picture, spirituality, God, deity, etc. So I had to go into a low whisper like I was inside the church. I didn't mean that.
Well, let's bring back the funny.
Yeah. Angel, you're the best. Angel has answered a bunch of questions. She always has something interesting to say. So thank you very much. We'll see you in the finals.
yes. And without further ado, I think we can see what the next question will be.
Oh, we really liked this one at QOTD. Give your boss a performance review. How they doing and how can they improve? So, you know what was surprising to me is I haven't seen all the answers, but the ones that I've seen so far, there were a lot of people who are very complimentary about their bosses. A lot of people who said, they're doing a great job. I mean, JJ and we write our answers down and we put it in a little box, the front of the office. It's anonymous. So,
They're trying to figure it out. Who called me?
I just use Reid's handwriting. I've kind of got it down now. So.
And of course, that box in the office goes straight into a paper shredder, right?
That's right.
No, and everything gets careful consideration. I read it very carefully and think about that as your next review comes up. You know how it goes.
Well, I think we have some answers coming up from users, so let's see what they have to say about their bosses and whether their bosses are nearly as good as ours.
Mr. Bossman, I'm glad that you can join me today. Now, I see that your performance in the past 5 years that you've been working with me has been great, but this last month you've been really awful at accepting time requests. What's the deal with that?
She really got into the
I don't know.
She's giving her boss a review. Good morning. What's up with that?
Okay, my boss is generally wonderful. I love him to death, but he goes from like 0 to 60 on everything. 60, 100, 1,000, whatever. He goes from being like, doesn't care about anything at all to being right with his nose in the middle of everything, and from being like completely nonchalant to being out.
He's my sister. What'd she say?
I would have to say, for not my current boss, but previous bosses, direction would be really helpful, and to not put so much pressure. We're just serving ads. We're not doing brain surgery.
Although I will say creative with the ad stuff, it is very complex, like brain surgery.
So my boss is pretty awesome this time around. Now, if we were talking about my former boss, we might have to do something different. But this boss has been epic, including me in everything, and downright just giving me the freedom to create like I want to. So I'm ecstatic with working with.
Wonder what you do.
Right now, I'd like to give my boss a big fat F. And that's only because I'm sure she'd give me that right now. But I know it's only because like tensions are really high and things are pretty stressful at work. But it just means lots of room to improve, right?
Good way of thinking about it.
Overall, my boss is doing a great job, great leader, and a great team motivator. If there's one thing that we could improve on, it's just constant communication of what needs to be done. But overall, superb job.
Wow. See the way she did the compliment sandwich there?
Yes.
It was really well done. All right, y'all, it's time to vote. These were all really, really good answers, so I don't know how you're going to choose, but you're going to have to, because otherwise nobody's going to get to the finals. Click one of the blue buttons on the bottom of your screen. If you are on YouTube, there is a link in the chat that will open up a voting screen and enable you to vote for one of these.
Yeah, no, I think, like you said, all these answers are very good. We have a mix of like the positive, and then we have some people who have, you know, some commentary, some advice. I love how Heather is just like, I would give my boss an F, and she would do the same for me.
I know, straight honesty. I love
Self-aware.
Andre. Well, yeah, I think after the last boss, he might deserve to win. It sounds like his last one was a real beauty.
I like his next boss.
Yes.
Let's talk about the last question. But I just want to say that Angelicia, when she got into the role playing, when she's actually going and giving a review, I thought that was gonna take her for the win.
I know.
That's so funny. Well, I mean, she just couldn't compete with Andre's incredible boss and incredibly unfortunate former boss.
Yes.
Big congratulations, Andre. We will see you in the finals. And now, I think it is time for another question. Most embarrassing job.
Oh, what is the most embarrassing job you ever had? I love this question. I wish that we had more people who actually had to dress up for their job that would come and tell us all about that. I'm always interested in the hot dog, sign holders.
Same.
I mean, I did a like halftime stuff with the band, but I didn't get paid, so it doesn't count.
Okay. So it's more like volunteering than an actual job because you didn't get paid.
I was a volunteer Muppet, more or less.
A volunteer Muppet.
Yeah, no, I mean, I try to think what would be because like all work is good. You know, I gotta say it. You know, if you're out there trying hard and contributing, yeah, I have nothing but respect. But it's so much sort of embarrassing when your friends find out that you work at the hot dog stand, or I don't know, it's all good work.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, we appreciate the bravery, the courage that our viewers and our users have demonstrated by answering this question. Yes, let's see what they have to say.
The most embarrassing job I had was running the changing rooms in Macy's Herald Square. It was just chaotic, and the demands I got from people was pretty ridiculous.
Hands down, the most embarrassing job I ever had was as a birthday hostess at like a little kids play area that was attached to an ice rink. And inherently that is not embarrassing, but when the parents requested that the polar bear mascot make an appearance, that was...
That's what Trish was looking for. There's one where you gotta dress up.
So I wouldn't say it was the job itself that was incredibly embarrassing, but I was just very not good at one part of it. I was a photographer and had to do studio sessions with kids, and I'm not good with kids, and so more often than not, they ended up crying.
That is a little embarrassing. If you make children cry, you're not doing your job well. I don't care what the job is.
Scary or embarrassing, I'm not really sure, but I once lived in Paris and I got a job dressing us up as Uncle Sam and standing in the American Express and answering questions about the United States to French people who were curious in French. Well, that was scary.
Embarrassing. I can imagine him wearing like stilts.
I would have to say babysitting. It just wasn't embarrassing, it was my first job. I was 16 and it was a nightmare. I'm not great with children back then, at least, and I guess I would say it was the most embarrassing one. And customer service.
What is it about kids with this question? A couple of people have like just trouble dealing with
Probably would have to be shoveling manure.
That'll do it.
Yeah, definitely. People say, what do you do? I'm a manure shoveler. Well, guys, guess what? Time to vote. So click on the blue buttons on the bottom of your screen or use the link in chat to open up the voting window. You can vote for one of our pals right here, many of whom were wearing costume as Trish requested.
Yes, Uncle Sam, a polar bear, a good mix of costumes with this one.
But people, as you're saying, didn't like the child-facing jobs. They thought that was embarrassing. They should have all the act together with kids. I think that's the lesson. What did you guys vote for? Let's find out. The polar bear.
Of course. The polar bear, it's so just, there's something about wearing a costume, especially a polar bear costume. That's so funny.
It's the polar bear distress.
And that's the way it happens on the polar bear distress. But no, this was very funny. I will say, that at least with Alexis, you sort of get the anonymity because you have the polar bear hat on. But unfortunately, in winning, you have also exposed yourself. So, get him back.
So another question where she had to face the children. This was almost the universal response to embarrassing jobs. I don't know.
Exactly.
Be a school teacher like Trish.
No. Well, I think we have another question, maybe.
One.
Yeah, I think this is the last one. Ooh, this one is good. It's what is one thing your parents taught you that you will pass down to your own kids?
I gotta say, a lot of people talk about like their sage advice, but my dad taught me how to canoe, like intensely. Like I'm a really good canoeer now because my dad made sure that I could feather and I could steer and I could portage and I have all these little tricks, and I got to say that I don't canoe that much, but if I were called upon today to canoe, I could definitely, handle myself in a respectful fashion.
That's good. Just in case you ever find yourself on a lake with a canoe and some paddle, you are all set to go.
Totally, 100%. Could happen. How about you, JJ? You're getting some good advice from your parents.
Yeah, I feel I've gotten some pretty good advice from my parents. I think they've generally just taught me to work hard, I think that's a lesson that it's very valuable, especially in the modern times. You just have to work that much harder to get the things that you want. And so, yeah, I feel like that's something that served me very well so far. Why don't I work hard?
Just kidding, friends.
Of course. Well, I think we have some parental advice coming in. So, parents, if you're watching, take notes. And kids, if you're watching, take notes for your future kids. Let's get ready.
Oh, so one thing my parents taught me that I'll pass down to my kids. I mean, I'm probably going to pass everything down because that's just how it works, right? But I guess manners. My mom was a big manners person. Like, don't put your elbows on the table. She's big about not passing gas in front of people. Close the door when you're using the bathroom. These are things that like need to be taught to wild children though, because I'm gonna do that to my kids for sure.
I'm sorry, JJ.
One thing that my parents taught me that I will pass down to my kids is the joy that a home cooked meal can bring you. The joy in your heart, the joy around the table. It's good times. So I think it's important to pass that tradition down.
One of our most popular categories are all the food questions.
I think one main thing that I will pass on to my kids is the wise words of wisdom that they gave us, or like the little speeches that they would tell us and their stories to pass on. I think that's what I would pass on to my kids, because it's personal life stories that they could use in their lives.
The middle solves the riddle.
And one thing my parents taught me that I'll pass on to my own kids is stand up for yourself. Use your voice, find your voice, stand up for who you are. Let it be known, let it be loud, let it be proud, be you 100%. Don't let anyone stifle you or feel like you can't say what you want to say or be who you want to be. Be yourself, be authentic, and do whatever you need to do to be happy in this world. Live for you.
People say this in different forms. I think that he articulated that.
What is one thing that your parents taught you that you will pass down to your kids? Geez, I'd probably say like everything in moderation. They were pretty big on that one, and I would pass that down to my kids. Like some things seem good up front. Maybe like Shirley Temples or playing a lot of video games or something like that. But they're not all good as long as they're good so long as you do them in moderation. Again, whether they seem good on face value or non-harmful at face value, it really depends how frequently you do it. And that can apply to anything. So, my parents taught me that, and I'll keep that one in my head.
Yeah, everything.
So one of the rules of my family, my extended family, is always do what what you say you're going to do. And that is like a super important thing with me. I mean, I hate flaky people. But yeah, you got to abide by that rule, and my kids will be abiding by that too. There's nothing I detest more than someone who says they're going to do something and makes a promise and then does not. If you can't do it, do not make that promise.
Detest, strong word.
That's the problem. Anyways, it's time for us to vote. Let's send one of these people to the finals. And you do that by clicking on the blue button on the bottom of your screen if you're on BeOnTheAir.com. If you're on YouTube, there is a link in the chat. If you click on that, it will open up the voting window, and then you can vote and send your favorite to the finals, and maybe they'll become the champion of the week.
Exciting. Yes. No, make sure to vote. The voting is very fun. And you also get to decide, make some very big decisions that affect how this show happens, which is wild. That's our advice to you, is vote.
Pass that down to your progeny too.
Exactly. Oh, we have a piece of advice coming in with as the winner. Let's see what it is.
Things in moderation. Like nothing's, I shouldn't say nothing, but like there are few things that are so bad that they aren't like okay, a little bit like pie. Not too much pie, but a little bit of pie is okay, Or even like anger. You don't want to like be walking around angry all the time, but sometimes in moderation, you got to express yourself, and that's a good thing. I thought a lot of the advice was really good. And this is like one of the real values of the show, is that we can listen to what people have to say about these subjects and kind of put it together and improve our own lives based on this kind of crowdsourced wisdom that only comes to you in our show at QOTD. You know what? If you haven't yet recorded you click on the button that's in the chat, or if you're on BeOnTheAir.com, you can actually just scroll through and see all the questions. Go ahead and talk to me. As we like to say,
Yes, we want more than just a penny for your thoughts. Yeah. Yes, see the finals.
where are we?
I think this was the last question that we had for the week, which means it's time for the final round.
You can tell because it's fireworks. Well, let me explain to you how the finals works. Obviously, all week long we've been answering questions. You guys have been voting and sending stars to tell us what your favorites are. We've gone through 7 different rounds of answers, and you picked one best answer to each question. And now what we'll do is we'll go and do a quick run through of all of your answers, the ones that you voted for, and it'll be up to you guys to pick the one that you think is the very best, and that will be our QOTD.
Yes, it will. So, let's begin that recap. Let's do it.
What is one thing that your parents taught you that you will pass down to your kids? Geez, I'd probably say like everything in moderation. They were pretty big on that one, and yeah, I would pass that down to my kids. Like some things seem good up front. Maybe like Shirley Temples or playing a lot of video games or something like that. But they're not all good as long as they're good so long as you do them in moderation. Again, whether they seem good on face value or non-harmful at face value, it really depends how frequently you do it. And that can apply to anything. So, yeah, my parents taught me that, and I'll keep that one in my head.
You said the question, so I won't repeat it, but that was very wise. Thank you.
If I could, I would be an accountant because I'm into freelance work, and accountants can make pretty good money as a freelancing accountant. So,
any small business, right? What would it be?
If I was to own a small business, it would have to be something along the lines of a seafood spot, that serves something very specific, maybe lobster tails or crabs. Why? Seafood is delicious. Everybody loves seafood. It would be booming. I would get to spend my days just fishing, catching stuff, cooking it, and just serving customers. So for me, it would be a seafood shack right by the beach.
Angel was telling us what her advanced degree is. Hector's telling us what small business he'd like to own.
Hands down, the most embarrassing job I ever had was as a birthday hostess at like a little kids play area that was attached to an ice rink. And inherently that is not embarrassing, but when the parents requested that the polar bear mascot make an appearance, that was...
See what's so embarrassing about being the most ferocious animal
So
on the
my
planet?
boss is pretty awesome this time around. Now, if we were talking about my former boss, we might have to do something different. But this boss has been epic, including me in everything, and downright just giving me the freedom to create like I want to. So I'm ecstatic with work.
Hector's answering the question. Give your boss a review. Tell him how to do it.
When I was younger, I either wanted to be a ballet dancer, an actress, or a model. And now that I'm 26 years old, I'm actually a voiceover artist. So I am still technically doing the acting in some of my work, but I'm not doing the dancing, and I'm definitely not doing any of the modeling.
He's answering the question. What's something that you wanted to do when you grew up when you were little, but what are you doing now?
I've worked in the service industry before, and my workplace story was I had this really impatient customer who was being rude, and I was making a sandwich, and he was just asking for a lot of toppings, and there was a huge line, and he was just being rude and just condescending and arrogant, and I just didn't like how he was treating me, and it was something I won't forget. It was a bad memory of a bad customer, so just very rude, and I didn't like that one bit.
That sad tale from Artie is, what's an embarrassing story that you have when you were, doing a customer-facing job? Maybe you were a shop person. All right, guys, it is time for us to vote. Pick one of these 7 to be your weekly champion. There are buttons across the bottom of your screen. If you're on YouTube, there is a link in the chat. You click on that, it'll open up the voting screen, and then, you can vote. So I love the way that everything kind of came together. It was about working. Trish was saying earlier on, JJ, that it's like not really about work. It started off about work and then it wandered. But no, the work in life. And probably the most respectful answer of all, if you really wanted to say something about working people, we want to hear your problems as a retail person or somebody who has had a customer-facing job. Share your nightmares, and we will all commiserate. And thank you for sharing that one with us, Artie. Artie is our champion of the week, and you did an awesome job. And I want to thank everybody who recorded or voted, sent stars or shared or wrote a comment in the chat. We just totally appreciate the way that you guys are sharing yourselves with us and with the entire QOTD audience. You're kind of putting yourself out there a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's very nice. We love hearing from people. Period. But yeah, I think this was a very good week. As we talked about, I had a very good theme of work and a lot of good messages about parental advice, how you treat your workers, or how you treat the workers that you interact with in businesses. It was very educational, I would say.
To have a job, or pretty much everybody's got to have a job, and it's something that we all share. Well, speaking of jobs, we got to go back to making the cookies, JJ. We got a new game coming out next week. And for those of you who've been following us on YouTube, there's now a 24-hour stream that's just showing all of our QOTDs. And when you answer your questions, they will shortly show up right in the stream. So it's an easy way to be on the air. And then, as people see you and vote for you, you make it to the big show, and maybe you'll be one of our cash prize winners. One of the ways that you can help yourself is by subscribing. Let me say that again, subscribing, because when you subscribe, you get the questions in your inbox first thing in the morning, and you can be the very first person to answer and start getting your votes and stars together. It's one of the ways that you can be on the air. So, with that, I'm just going to say that we're starting a new week this afternoon. So in a few hours, you're going to start to see the new questions coming out. This is the first question for the next, setup. And so when next Thursday rolls around and we have the next big show, there's going to be 7 entirely new questions. There's going to be 42 entirely new answers that you guys have voted for, and however many else that you guys have decided to put online. But that's up to you guys. We're counting on you guys to vote and record. You are. So, with that, let me just say thanks again for everybody at QOTD and Consolidated Wonder, and we cannot wait to see you on TV.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Have a good week. See you next week, and stay on the air.